The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel. It fits however I like to bet, whether I'm betting on player props, building a same-game parlay, live betting. It all is great. It makes the game more exciting whether you're watching your favorite team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineups. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the best way to add just a little more energy to your Sundays. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app today by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. The Locked On Leafs podcast continues. Mike DiStefano, Dave Morisuti with you on a Tuesday. Just a reminder that the podcast is now available 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, wherever you can find your podcast. You can also find Locked On Leafs on YouTube as well. Hit subscribe. That'd be greatly appreciated as well. So last season, Dave, you consider it a breakout for Matthew Knies. 29 goals, 29 assists for 58 points last season. Pretty good for a sophomore, I would say. What are your expectations for him going into his third season in the NHL?
I expect just another step, right? Just him I think right now taking a little more leadership, understanding that he has now got to be he's not just a passenger. Well, I wouldn't say passenger. He's not like the third guy on the top line. He is now being promoted to the sidekick.
He's Robin. He's now Robin.
Yeah. Big Robin, but he's a Robin on that line. I think he understands that, with Marner gone, someone has to fill a void. And that's what I think the pressure falls on him. And, it all goes to the contract that he got, the fact that, they didn't really get anybody to replace Marner. And, you kind of hope for a little bit of that internal development too. And I think that's where, personally, that's where I see him taking that big step, is that with more responsibility, he should be able to be taking a bigger step because of that.
Absolutely. I mean, not only is he going to be factored in on, Matthew's wing as kind of his partner for the foreseeable future, but, he can easily take on those penalty killing and power play minutes that Mitch Marner left behind. And I know that Knies was on the power play for the back half of last season, but now you figure if Marner's not there, are they still going to run a 5-man unit? I'm not sure. So you probably end up getting Morgan Riley or OEL back on that power play. But Matthew Knies can stay there, right? You're probably going to run Knies, Matthews, Tavares, Nylander, and one of Riley or Oliver Ekman-Larsson. But that's a spot where he's going to stay up on the top power play unit. And again, he can take over. He was killing penalties last year. Now he can take on a more prominent role killing penalties if he wants to, or if Craig Berube wants him to do that. But he knows that he's going to be expected to alleviate some of what was left by Mitch Marner. And again, speaking with the media today, he said, quote, "I have to perform better and take on a little bit more ice time or take on a bigger role. If that's what's needed and expected, then I'm going to be ready for it and hopefully successful in those areas," end quote. So he knows that he's going to have to take on a much bigger role and elevate. He's being paid that way, that's for sure, but he's expected to do that as well. And the best part is, Dave, based on what I saw in the postseason and the playoffs, when this guy's healthy, he's capable of doing all of those things. It's not going to look the same, right? It's not going to look the same the way that Marner does it, but he can be as physically dominant as the best power forwards in the game. If he can just find that next level. He's almost there. If he can find that level of consistency, I think that the Maple Leafs really have something here with Matthew Knies.
I do. And again, it's the type of player that he is. Big, strong, power forward, that those type of players have seemed to find a way to excel, right? And again, finding different ways to get better every year. And that's why the potential is so high, because we haven't seen the full potential from him. And if the trajectory continues to go upwards, now I'm very curious to see, how much of a sweetheart deal is that contract going to be? really, when it comes down to it.
I think a year or two from now, you could be looking at it as one of the better contracts in the NHL. Because contracts are only going to continue to ascend, and they're going to get bigger and more grandiose. And you're going to look back and be like, man, Nyes at sub 8 might be one of the better deals in the National Hockey League. He has that type of ability. He's shown that. Again, just go back and look at that, how he performed in the playoffs up until getting injured midway through that Florida series. Like, he was the best player for the Maple Leafs in this series, the best forward at the very least for the Maple Leafs throughout the entire playoff. And that's at 22 years old, right? And all of a sudden, another full off season to get stronger, to get bigger, to get leaner, he said, get a little bit quicker, more agile, but also keep that bulk and allow him to play that heavy game. He's only going to get better. And that's what I think is exciting about the upcoming year for Matthew Nyes. Just so much more opportunity for him. And when opportunities have come knocking, Nyes has knocked them out of the park. So 29 goals, 58 points a season ago. His over-under on FanDuel is only 60 points. Yeah, you can get 60-plus points for Matthew Nyes to score 60-plus points on FanDuel at minus 125. That's a smash hammer bet for me. Absolutely, that's something that I'm taking the over on.
Absolutely. Like, if he doesn't get 60-plus points there, he must have been through some terrible slump or gotten injured. Knock on wood.
Yes.
Don't even need to. I'm sorry I even did that.
Why
but
you put that into the ether, Dave? What the hell's wrong with you, man?
Yeah, I for me, it's just I don't. Again, 60 points. That's a pretty. Again, it's expecting him to take a move up in terms of what he's been able to do in the past.
Well,
but his role gets more increased too.
Let me give you some numbers here, okay? And why I think 60 is easily attainable. I think he's going to have 75 plus points this year. So 60 blowing past that. If you can get him, bet up the number a little bit and try and get 70 plus, I think that's where you'll find even better value. Because last year, and keep in mind, he wasn't a top 6 player the entire season. Really only the latter third is when he really got onto that top line with Matthews and Marner. But last year, he ended up with 51 points at even strength by himself. That's without power play time. Now, that obviously he gets put on the power play a little later on into the season and then never came off of it. But 24 of his 29 goals were scored at even strength. So now you add in those power play opportunities, right? All of a sudden you go from 51 points to probably going to end up with 20, 25 points maybe on the power play. That puts you from 51. You get an extra 20 points on the power play. You're at 71 points. That blows past 60.